So we are studying Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, titled Divinity and Divine Service. So far in this chapter, we have seen that Shukdev Goswami's story is being presented, who was born as a self-realized soul, and he immediately left home. And his father, Vyasdev, is following him out of love and affection. So there are some beautiful themes which come from this discussion here. Should we consider that Vyasdev was attached? Is this his attachment which is making him run behind his own son? Yeah, we see that his son is self-realized, so shouldn't Vyasdev, who is himself so learned, shouldn't he be happy? That, oh, great, my son is on the path to Brahman. So he was a Brahmavadi since birth, and this is not to be seen as an attachment. Yeah. Why? Because the nature of a pure devotee is that they are attractive to everyone. So, what is the word used here? Sarva Bhuta Hridayam. So, Shukdev Goswami was such a personality who had entered into the hearts of everyone. Just like Krishna. Krishna is in our hearts, therefore, all of us love Krishna or someone you love, your beloved. So, a beloved enters the hearts of the lover. So then everyone has that feeling of love to such a pure devotee. Bhagavad Gita talks about this. That one who has reached this state of, you know, complete communion with God, they become attractive to everyone's. Yeah, we'll also study this and you see this in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. They are attractive to everyone. So that was the nature. Shukdev Goswami was attractive to everyone. He was such a pure person. He got everyone's attraction. And he also had received the assurance of the Lord. Don't worry, Maya will not touch you. So just like, all of us can be attracted to the Lord, it is not wrong. Similarly, Vyasdev can feel this kind of attraction towards Shukdev Goswami. It is not material. So the trees also became full of the same consciousness of Shukdev Goswami. When you love someone, you become full of their consciousness. Yeah. If you love Vyavasai business, you become Vyavasai Mai. So similarly, the trees also
Feeling so
became
guilty to do like that.
Shukha
But I know.
Mai.
Yeah. Chilling.
The trees also became full of the consciousness of Shukdev Goswami. And in that, they were calling out, Oh my son, oh my son. So they were also feeling the same emotion towards Shukdev Goswami, which Vyasdev was feeling. So Vyasdev is calling out, but there is no response. There is only echo from the trees. Oh my son, oh my son. So this shows that, and this can also this can also be seen philosophically. So trees are saying, "Oh my son, oh my son." So if Vyasdev is thinking, "He's my son," but who's actually the son and who's the father? These are all bodily designations. So why are you attached? Just let me go. That's what Shukdev Goswami is feeling. So there's nobody's son, nobody is a father. In that spirit, he's not getting any response. Just the trees are saying back. So this is how we, try to understand that only the trees, which were absorbed in the same feelings of separation, because Shukdev Goswami is such a pure devotee, therefore they love him. They also developed the same feelings of separation and they were echoing in the response to the big grief father. So that is how we understand this beautiful emotions of Vyasdev and even the trees playing out. So, and Shukdev Goswami, because he is a Brahmavadi from birth, Shukdev Goswami did not require any purificatory processes or samskaras. Samskaras, janmana jayate Shudra. We are all born a Shudra, but samskaras or training make us a Dvija, qualified person, a second birth. But that is for purification. But if somebody like Shukdev Goswami who's already pure, what is the use of these samskaras to them? They don't need these samskaras. They don't need any purificatory processes. Shukdev Goswami has the personal assurance of Krishna. That's how he entered into this world. So this is the theme here. And we see further that in this assembly where Srila Sutta Goswami starts to present the answers to the question of Shaunakadi rishis, in that assembly, Vyasdev is also present. Who is the Param Guru? Param, Param Guru. Vyasdev is present, Narad Muni is present. Yeah. Narad Muni instructed Vyasdev, Vyasdev instructed further, Shukdev Goswami. So we are seeing that Sutta Goswami is presenting Bhagavatam and there his gurus are also present. So what is unique? They are relishing Shukdev Goswami's unique love for Krishna. Oh, is this how Bhagavat is this how sweet Bhagavatam is? Wow. So they are also relishing Rasika, Bhuvi Bhavuka. So they are relishing the personal love of Shukdev Sutta Goswami that he has with Sri Krishna. So we see that here from the sixth verse of the second chapter, we see Sutta Goswami beginning to answer the questions asked by Shaunaka Rishis in the first chapter. What was the first question? Please give us Ekantatah Shreyah. What is that one ultimate good for all humanity? Hmm. Ekantatah Shreyah. Shreyas means what is ultimately good, and Ekanta of everything. Absolutely. What have you ascertained to be the absolute and ultimate good for people in general? So, Ekanta Shreya is the first question, and the second question is Saram. Please give us the Saram. Please give us Saram of this scriptures because scriptures have so many teachings and so many recommendations. There are so many sadhanas given in so many scriptures. How do I know what I should follow? And we don't have the ability to hear everything from you and then ascertaining what is best for us. Therefore, we request you ascertain what is best and give us the Sara. So, the answer, the Saram is presented overall in chapter 2. And the answer to the specific first question is presented in verses 6 and 7. What is the Ekanta Shreya? So, what is the Ekanta Shreya? We saw in verse 6. Let us revise again. Savai pumsam paro dharma yato bhaktir adho kshaje ahitukiya pratihata yayatma suprasidati. So, what is the Ekanta Shreya mentioned by Sutta Goswami in this verse? What is the ultimate absolute good for all humanity? What did we discuss? Yes, please. You can unmute and share.
यतो भक्तिर अडोक्षजे.
Okay, very good. So, what is the ultimate good for everyone? Bhakti. What kind of bhakti? What are the two types of bhakti mentioned in verse 6, if you remember?
Unmotivated,
Causeless and
Okay,
unmotivated.
ahituki and apratihata, those are the attributes of bhakti. But Yes, Prabhu?
Yeah, I remember we discussed, I think, Parodharma refers to sadhana bhakti, and the Yato Bhakti Radhokshaji in the second line refers to the like Bhav Bhakti or Prem Bhakti.
Correct. So there are two bhaktis mentioned in this verse. The parodharma, the ultimate dharma for all, is sadhana bhakti, through which prema is born. So both are bhakti only. One is like a unripe mango, another is a ripe mango. We should not think of them as different things, not even as cause and effect, but as the same bhakti in its initial stage and its mature stage. That bhakti which gives rise to prema is the ultimate occupation of all humanity. So sadhana bhakti is the Ekantatah Shreyah. Right? You remember this? So we saw here, we'll just briefly revise the key points. That first is that no other processes but just bhakti, parodharma, that is sadhana bhakti. And that is also the saram. It is the Ekantatah Shreyah, and it is also the saram of scripture. So saram is presented throughout chapter 2, but also specifically here in these verses 6 and 7. And the Ekantatah Shreyah also is answered here. The essence of scripture is bhakti yoga. That bhakti yoga by which prema bhakti appears. So if somebody asks you what is all these scriptures, what are all these scriptures trying to teach us? Bhakti yoga. That is the saram. And what is the Ekantatah Shreyah? Sadhana bhakti, which causes or which matures into prema bhakti. So what is sadhana bhakti? It is the dharma of hearing and chanting about the Lord. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. Yeah. That is the highest occupation of all humanity. And we'll discuss more about this today. So, Parodharma, the sadhana bhakti, and Bhaktir Adhokshaje is that same sadhana bhakti when it has matured into prema. So, this is just denoting different strengths of bhakti. And then we also discussed that bhakti is not caused by anything. Bhakti itself causes bhakti. And we had a elaborate discussion about that. How the mercy of Krishna follows the mercy of devotees. Because devotees in their heart are carrying Krishna, and there is bhakti in the heart of devotees. It is that bhakti which is coming in the form of mercy of devotees, which is creating bhakti in the heart of the receiver. Bhaktya sanjayatya bhaktya. That is how we understood. That it is avahetuki. It doesn't have any external cause. Bhakti can only be caused by bhakti itself, not by yagya, dan, tapa, anything else. Yes, we will discuss today that varnashram and these other processes can give us a shade of bhakti in sattva gun. Yeah. And that sattva gun, that bhakti in sattva gun is a anga of jnana. It is not bhakti itself. So that bhakti is practiced as a anga of jnana that you can attain by doing all the yagya, dan, tapa, brahmacharya, swadhyay. Yeah, that can lead you to sattvic bhakti, but it is a anga of jnana. It is not pure bhakti. Pure bhakti cannot be caused by any of this. And bhakti is also apratihata. It cannot be prevented by anything. Just like Ganges flows towards the ocean, similarly, bhakti naturally flows towards the Lord. And he's also answering tell us that which will satisfy our heart. Yanatma suprasidati. So only this bhakti will yayatma suprasidati. How beautifully Sutta Goswami's answer is aligned to the question presented by Shaunakadi Rishi. He's not going around the bush straight. So, after understanding Savai Pumsam Paro Dharma, Dharmo Yato Bhakti Radhokshje Ahaituki Apratihata Yayatma Suprasidati. And Srila Prabhupada in the purport presents Pravritti Marg and Nivritti Marg. Beautiful, brilliant purports, here, throughout first canto, I would say. That first of all, our material existence is a diseased condition. We identify with the body and mind. We think senses are all in all, and therefore to gratify the senses is the goal of life. That is a disease. That is the disease of ignorance, from which we are caught in avidya. And then ahankar develops. We have discussed that. Actual life or Brahma Bhuta existence is Satchidanand. Yeah. Here in material existence, there is no Anand. What we are trying is to just avoid suffering. And when there is a absence of suffering for some time, we call it happiness. Oh wow, there was no pain today. But that's absence of a negative thing. That's not a positive thing in itself. So that is the maximum we can get in this material realm. So this path of progressive material enjoyment, Srila Prabhupada says, is inferior. It is the pravritti marg. It is inferior, we should reject it. Instead, we should take to the nivritti marg. Nivritti marg is that we align with our spiritual nature. Yeah. And our current conditional tendencies will obstruct us in performing our spiritual activities. Yes, that is the tapasya, tapodivya. That is why it is called nivritti marg. Don't go as per your swabhava. Resist your swabhava. Purify your swabhava. Don't get carried away by raga and dvesh. Through Shastra, develop the conviction through jnana and detach from material enjoyment. And when you do that, you also attract the grace of Krishna, which is bhakti. So Srila Prabhupada says, sometimes it is polluted when mixed with inferior quality. So Prabhupada is saying, actually we should be doing bhakti, which is the real nivritti marg, but sometimes that bhakti is contaminated by karma or jnana. For example, adoption of devotional service for material gain is certainly an obstruction to the progressive path of renunciation. That we will discuss in verse 9 today in detail. The idea is don't contaminate pure bhakti with materially motivated karma or jnana. Because karma and jnana and yoga have traces of selfishness. So when you include that, then bhakti becomes, that your practice becomes mishrit. Karma mishrit, jnana mishrit or yoga mishrit. So renunciation for ultimate good is certainly better than enjoyment in diseased condition of life. What is Prabhupada talking about? Pravritti and nivritti. Sacrificing current enjoyment for future liberation or future growth, that is spirituality. That is the path of nivritti, or that is the spirit of yajna. I sacrifice today's enjoyment for tomorrow's growth. So Srila Prabhupada is therefore saying here, that kind of renunciation for the ultimate good is better than enjoyment in the diseased condition of life. If you say, no, I just want to go by my feelings, that is pravritti marg. What will happen? Don't think that, you will be saved from the struggle of trying to abstain yourself. No, you will be subjected to the miseries of this world, because if you indulge in a diseased condition, your disease only increases. It aggravates the symptoms of the disease and increases its duration. So if you have an upset stomach, still you want to relish a fried dish, then the symptoms of the disease will increase and the duration of the disease will increase. That is how ignorantly we continue to live in our material mode of existence. Therefore, devotional service to the Lord must be pure in quality. So Srila Prabhupada is saying, please practice pure bhakti. Don't make it mixed, without the least desire for material enjoyment. Okay, it should not have any tinge of desire. This alone can lead one to perpetual solace in his service. Yayatma suprasidati. If you're looking for ultimate fulfillment, that is obtainable only by this kind of pure bhakti, not by Mishra bhakti. So I think it's important to also discuss here important point of varnashram and bhakti. So we'll see here, or let's discuss verse 8 and then come to varnashram. Basically, what I'm trying to present is varnashram dharma is also based on our bodily designations. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. These are also all bodily designations. This is at body-mind level. Here, Srila Prabhupada is saying we should act at a level of pure in quality. The devotional service to the Lord must be pure in quality. What does it mean? Don't need to practice dharma which is based on bodily designations, but dharma which is based on the nature of the soul. What is the nature of the soul? Jivara Swarup Hoy Krishnera Nitya Das. That the constitutional position of a soul is to be an eternal servant of Krishna. And as an eternal servant of Krishna, Krishna Das, what would you be doing? The direct limbs of bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam. As a servant of Krishna, do you need to do karma? What do you think? If you are Krishna Das, you have spiritual names with a suffix Das or, Dasi of Krishna. Do you need to do karma if you are Krishna Das? How do we see our varnashram duties in that light? So should we stop doing our material activities then? Or stop going to your job?
No, no,
Or
we
stop.
have to, in tandem balance your spiritual life and your material life.
Yeah, so my question is, as your identity of being a soul, do you need to do karma? Do you
Actually,
need to do varnashram duties? Do you
from
need
my,
to
yeah.
even do any endeavor? If you say, no, we'll just do bhakti, then my question is, then who provides you the food?
Yeah.
Who takes care of everything else that's required to run the world?
Krishna.
Prabhuji, it is referring to that, we can refer to Karmanya Vadikaraste Mapaleshu Kadachana Bhagavad Gita.
Right,
तो मुझे यद करोसि यद अस्नासि यद जुहोसि ददासि
correct.
यद
So
तपस्ि.
which karmane vadikaraste and yad karoshi, they are which type of dharma? That's what I'm saying. It's varnashram dharma. Varnashram dharma is again at a bodily level. It is not a attribute of the soul. The soul only identifies as Krishna Das. The Brahman dharma might be good for you for a certain time, And after that, the same Brahman dharma may be unfavorable for you. So it is subjective. It is not ultimate. It is not universal. Only Krishna Das is ultimate, universal, and objective. So then we come back to the question, do we need to perform karma? Either you say, I am not the soul, therefore please let me live and act in this world. Or if you say, no, 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 I have to agree, I accept I am a soul, then my question is, are you performing karma? Yes, please.
So it's a beautiful question, Prabhuji. And what comes to mind is that the karmic cycle of cause and effect is something that we need not get entangled into if we are identifying with our soul nature. At the same time, because we are in this thing, then to be a good servant of Krishna, we can perform our swadharma. So what our divine nature is, in accordance with that, do what is necessary, not what is compulsive or dictated by our samskaras or our karmic baggage. So that's where I wanted to make a distinction between what our karmic entanglements are. That has a different urge for action, and the swadharmic action, which is what is necessary, what is appropriate, and what is in alignment with our divine nature.
So dharmic requirement, I would also put in the category of karmic, situation. So because we have because of our karma, we have acquired a certain swabhava. To purify that swabhava, we have to identify a certain swadharma. So swadharma is in the same category as karma and swabhava. So it is all your karmic, obligation or that karmic realm. That's perfect. What you said is right. I'm saying, I'm trying to present that as a soul, your duties are entirely different. Just Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Atma Sevanam, Atma Nivedanam, Pada Sevanam, the 9 limbs of bhakti. Navvidha bhakti is the nature of the soul. The soul doesn't need to do karma. The soul should 24 hours do the direct processes of bhakti. So this is the principle. Principally, this is true. Let us understand how. Yes, Prabhu?
Means, Prabhuji, I was just thinking that while this is 100% true, and definitely Krishna is the only maintainer, and that is the platform of Sharanagati. But in one of the previous classes, you were talking about how Drid Shraddha has to develop so that one can come to the
Exactly.
platform of Sharanagati. So while that is there, we might have to little bit take support of Varnashram Dharma or occupational duties, while also continuing the Navavida processes so that we can purify ourselves. That's what I was thinking.
Correct. That's absolutely right. From what we have discussed earlier, you brilliantly, remembered it and presented at the right time. That it is the junction or the decision point is Drid Shraddha. If we have not yet developed, then we continue the process of purification through Varnashram. Varnashram brings us to a state of Sattva Guna. And there, Sattva Guna it's a stepping stone to bhakti. Remember, it is not the cause of bhakti. There is no guarantee that at Sattva Guna you will become a devotee. Why? Because we discussed bhakti is not caused by anything, not even by Sattva Guna. Only a devotee has to intervene, and by that mercy of a devotee, you may receive that seed of Shraddha. Till that time, I mean, you're favorable. You are among the favorable candidates who will be in the arena of such devotees. Yeah, the whole purpose of Varnashram is to rise to Sattvagun and expose yourself to the blessings of devotees. That's all. If somebody asks you what is the purpose of Varnashram, blessings of Vaishnavas. When you practice Varnashram, you become purified of your anarthas and your svabhava. Yeah, ahankara, you reach a sattvic stage. At that stage, you are a perfect candidate to receive the mercy of Vaishnavas. So purpose of Varnashram is blessings of Vaishnavas. So when we receive those blessings and we gain Dridha Shraddha, then we can reject or not perform Varnashram and just perform direct limbs of bhakti. And if you say directly performing the limbs of bhakti, so I'm trying to present that the nature of the two are different. Yeah. What is practical for us to do, we'll come to later. First, let's understand the principle. See, there is a North Pole, and the compass is designed according to the magnetic north of the earth. Or there is a lighthouse, and you plan your journey according to the lighthouse. You don't bring or you don't change that true north. So principle, let's understand first. Then what is practical for us, we'll take up later. So the principle is Varnashram Dharma is also at a bodily level. Yeah, it is only the activities of Shravanam Kirtanam which are the actual true nature of the soul. So if you see when in the first chapter, in the introduction, we said Dharma Parojita Kaitava. So that Dharma which is at the level of body mind is rejected in Srimad Bhagavatam. So therefore Varnashram is not recommended in Srimad Bhagavatam. Only Parodharma, which is Bhakti, is recommended. So if Varnashram Dharma is of our temporary bodily designations, Bhakti is at our constitutional level. Yeah. As a servant of the Lord, that is our true nature, we do the direct activities of Bhakti. And there is also a difference. In Varnashram, you do an action and you offer it to Krishna. That is when it becomes Bhakti. Okay, you heard this before in Bhagavad Gita. Karma Arpanam. But the direct limbs of Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, they are already by nature Bhakti. They don't need to be offered. As soon as you start performing Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, that is a act of bhakti. It is not karma which has to be offered to Krishna, so it becomes bhakti. It is bhakti from the beginning. It is Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. In your Swarupa, this is what you would be doing. So Varnashram is at a Swadharma level, whereas Bhakti is at a Swarupa level. This is what we should be clear about. We don't even need to offer those activities of Bhakti. And those activities are recommended for all time. Yeah. That is our real Dharma. So yes, like we discussed, when we reach that Sattva Guna by purification and we develop Dridha Shraddha, then we enter Bhakti and then we don't need to perform karma. We do Varnashram to develop Dridha Shraddha. Yeah. We do Varnashram duties to reach a level of Sattva, and there, we are like most suitable candidates waiting to receive the mercy of Vaishnavas. Because, if you reject Varnashram before you reach that point of purification, then you are rejecting what is prescribed by the Vedas, which becomes Vikarma. So jumping before time is also dangerous. Have we reached Sattvagun? Have we obtained Dridha Shraddha? Then you can say, now I don't need to perform my Varnashram duties. And if somebody, by the mercy of devotees, has received Dridha Shraddha and they continue to perform Varnashram duties, that's an obstacle in their bhakti. You're absorbed in doing bhakti and suddenly you have to stop and go do your Varnashram. It is impeding your pure, direct flow of bhakti. Right? So that is what we need to enter the path of bhakti, Shuddha Bhakti. Yes, Prabhu?
Here I had two sort of related questions. First is,
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned that from Varnashram we'll be purified and be qualified to practice bhakti. Is it the Varnashram itself which is causing the purification, or because we are practicing bhakti even while under Varnashram? And second question is it that practicing Navavidha Bhakti, actually speaking, only starts to give result after one is at the platform of Sharanagati? Or is it that even before that it is like, helping us to purify our heart?
Sure. I mean, I'll answer the second question first. It will start producing effect right away to the proportion of your Drid Shraddha and Sharanagati. To that proportion, you will start seeing the benefits of bhakti accrue. So you don't have to wait to reach that stage of only after Drid Shraddha will I start to see the benefits of bhakti or the symptoms of bhakti. As you start performing it, to the degree it is unmixed, to the degree it is Drid, to that proportion you will start see the symptoms of bhakti. So it's proportionate. It's not that, oh, I have to wait till I develop Drid Shraddha. No. Even in the stage of mixed and offensive, that is the Namabhas stage. It's not pure, but still you experience the power of the holy name. So that is our middle stage, but still the benefits of the symptoms start showing. And are the benefits accruing because we are practicing bhakti within Varnashram? That's a very good question. We will discuss that when we come to verse 9 and 10, because that brings us to the subject matter of what is the purpose of dharma. So let us discuss this question there, that are you performing bhakti to get a result of something? Or are you performing bhakti for the sake of bhakti itself? That changes the whole thing. Okay, so I'll request you to just wait till we reach verse 9. And what we are discussing is that this Dhrida Shraddha, which is reached, when you are at a purified stage after performing Varnashram, you are at Sattva, you are prone to receive mercy and you are more prone to be, granted Dhrida Shraddha. From there, your bhakti begins. So, another thing I'd like to clarify and request you all to remember for the entire discussion in the future is, what is the role of detachment? Yeah, somebody might say, when we are detached from matter, then we can practice Shuddha Bhakti. Yeah, have you heard this? Till the time I have attachments, I cannot practice Shuddha Bhakti. So is detachment a prerequisite for Shuddha Bhakti?
Will bhakti not help to get detachment? Bhakti helps in detaching, right?
Wow, we are already, today jumping to the verses which we are supposed to discuss. So that is
The
being
idea
presented.
is bhakti helps vairagya, right?
That is verse 7, which we'll come to next. Yes. So let's park that for a while. But coming back to the question, is detachment required to practice pure devotion, Shuddha Bhakti?
No, Prabhuji. It's a byproduct
Yes.
of attachment.
Correct. So you can practice pure bhakti with attachments.
I had heard, Prabhuji, that like the qualification for bhakti is not too attached and not too detached.
Correct, correct. That is a beautiful verse in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Mat Katha, Jata Shraddha Mat Katha. So we'll keep coming back to that. Just note it for now. Jata Shraddha Mat Katha. So till the time you develop Shraddha in me and my Mat Katha, till the time you develop Shraddha in Krishna and Krishna Bhakti, Nirvinna, not too attached, not too detached. Why? If you're too detached, that is a disqualification because bhakti involves a relation. So if you're too dry and stone cold, you are not suitable for bhakti. So that's a separate discussion. What I'm trying to present right now is detachment prerequisite to bhakti? The answer is no. Detachment is required on the path of jnana. If you want to practice Nishkam Karma Yoga, which leads to Jnana, the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. That entry point to that path is detachment. We are not taking that path of Jnana, we are talking about the path of Bhakti. On that path of Bhakti, detachment has no role. Only variable that we are discussing about is Shraddha. Okay, so Virid Shraddha is required for Shuddha Bhakti. No discussion of detachment. Yes, yes, Prabhu.
Oh, sorry, trick question.
Hmm?
In the same context, how will you describe the shloka which we just read, the first shloka, that trees were calling out the names in Shukadeva because somebody was not listening?
Oh, that was, we discussed now, it is not a material attachment, it is spiritual. If somebody is so spiritual, everyone is attracted to them. That attachment is spiritual, it's not a fault. So
Thank you,
we
Prabhu.
don't need to worry about that. Yes, Prabhu.
So, just one more question on that same theme. So it seems like the primary requirement when for us to get Drid Shraddha is to get the mercy of devotees. So then,
Correct.
in that sense, is it like, okay, right now till we have the feeling that, oh, I am dependent on things other than executing Navavida Bhakti with proper attitude, then till that time, actually, our main focus more or less is to try to receive the mercy of the devotees.
Correct.
Okay, so then how do we like? How is that? I mean, how to do that? Like, is
Yeah.
it?
I mean, the point is, I mean, I don't know why this chemistry example is coming in my head. If you want to identify where an electron is, in relation to the nucleus, there's something like electron cloud. That is where the highest probability of finding the electron is. So similarly, if by practicing Swadharma, we situate ourselves in Sattva, we are increasing the probability of being hit by Kripa. So when we practice other things, the idea is let me put myself in a state where I can be a recipient of grace. What will do the magic is grace. But let me put myself in a place where have become a recipient of it. If it's raining and we are hiding in a cave, we are losing the point. So let me be out in the open and where this is available. So to do that, we practice Varnashram. So you
Means,
practice.
yeah, I was specifically asking because it's like hard for me to like. There is no software development cannot be put under Varnashram approach. Like it's like I feel like it does not lead to Sattva-guna. It creates more other problems really. So then, what is practically for me a situation where I can
See,
receive?
you continue performing your Swadharma without putting faith in Swadharma. Those who are at the level of the soul, those who have the Shraddha, somebody might tell them, oh, please take Ayurveda, your health is not good. They'll take Ayurveda, but they'll not have faith in Ayurveda. They say, this pill, what is this pill going to do? They have faith in Krishna who will cure me. So similarly, that's the art of work. If you can do it without having faith in it, your faith should come from bhakti. But while you are in this world, you have to do what you have to do. But you don't have faith in it. That, oh, my meaning, my growth, my purification is not coming from software development. It is a means towards my spiritual growth where I can receive the mercy of devotees. Yeah. So I was saying detachment is not a qualification to become a pure devotee, to enter into the path of pure devotion. It is needed to enter into the Gyan Marg. Okay. So for us, for the Bhakti Marg, because Srila Sutta Goswami is presenting Parodharma here as Bhakti, Sadhana Bhakti. So we are interested in the Bhakti path. So there, Drid Shraddha is the requirement. And for, anyone who has this Drid Shraddha, you think of what state they would be at. They would not follow varnashram duties. They would practice direct devotional activities, or what is called as Swarup Siddha Bhakti. They will just keep themselves engaged in Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam 24 hours a day. Why? Because they are at their constitutional position of the soul, and because they are actually there, they are not faking it, they are able to absorb themselves in those constitutional duties at all times. So you cannot go back and say after class that I am not going to do my cooking today. That's not my dharma. I will do chanting. The question is, before you give up your cooking, cleaning, job, software, you have to ask, if I give this up and I do start chanting, can I chant for 24 by 7? If not, then we better come to our position and continue our purification. And when we reach that stage of constitutional nature, after Dhrida Shraddha, we will actually get absorbed in these activities. Yeah, we will not even think of our ashram duties. So there are kings like Ambarish Maharaj, Bharat Maharaj, we will read about them later. They are pure devotees. They are least interested in the managing the affairs of the kingdom. What do? They try to delegate most of those activities, and the bhakti activities they keep to themselves. Some yajna has to be performed, they'll send some priest. Some strategy has to be formed, they'll send some ministers. So the point is, for them, bhakti is primary, but because they are in a social position, they cannot step back because that will set a bad example for society. And Sri Krishna says, even if you are purified, yajna dan tapashut pavanani manishina. Even if you are purified, you should continue to perform the, yajna dan tapa, which is, swadharma done in a selfless way. Why? To set a standard for the world. You're not doing it for your gain. You're doing it to set a benchmark for society. So now we are clear about two very distinct levels. At a body-mind level, varnashram, and at a constitutional soul level, direct activities of bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. Food who will provide? If you are at that level, constitutional, and you're absorbed in Shravanam, Kirtanam, Krishna will provide. 100% Krishna will provide. That is the resolve of a pure devotee. Think about it, what will happen. If you have reached that level of purification and Dhrida Shraddha, what would be your nature? You would be so kind and compassionate. And will the devatas not be pleased by such a person? Will Krishna not be pleased? You will become the role model of the creation. So the devatas and Krishna will provide in abundance. You will not be in conflict. You will not be acting out of greed. So and can we accommodate if the entire world becomes pure devotees? 100% we can accommodate. Because then we will stop encroaching on each other's resources. Everyone will have enough. Everyone will have abundance because nobody is hoarding. And everyone's focus is on their spiritual growth, not on their accumulation. So, to conclude, till the time we don't develop Dhrida Shraddha, we should perform Varnashram duties because we don't have the faith to perform our constitutional duties yet. Shraddha Shabde Vishwase Kahe Sudrida Nischay. You have a feeling that yes, I should be doing bhakti. But is it a Drid Nischay? Till the time it is not Drid Shraddha. Shraddha Shabde Vishwase Kahe Sudrida Nischay Krishna Bhakti Koila Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. I do Krishna Bhakti, everything else will be taken care of. So till the time we don't genuinely develop that Shraddha, we should continue performing our Varnashram duties, Swadharma. But again, how? Not having faith in varnashram duties, having faith in bhakti. That, oh, I have received this seed of bhakti from pure devotees. That will connect me to Krishna. Varnashram duties, max role is to bring you to sattva. If you have received even, starting Shraddha, you are above that point which Varnashram leads you to. You are ahead of that. So you don't need to have faith in Varnashram duties because you are qualified for more than that. Because you have developed Shraddha. Even if it is not Dhrad Shraddha, you have developed Shraddha. So you continue, you perform your Varnashram duties, you undergo purification, but faith is always in bhakti. Okay? So Varnashram Dharma is rejected as Kaitav Dharma, which we have discussed earlier as well. So the beautiful way to look at it is, we do Varnashram duties to stop doing Varnashram duties. If you are thinking that Varnashram duties is the highest potential and perfection I can visualize myself in, then we are wrong. The highest potential and perfection we should visualize ourselves is when we act out of our Swarupa, not according to our Swadharma. Okay. Yes?
I just wanted to ask about what is so karma, swadharma, all of that, these are associated with acts of work. But what about being agencies or instruments of grace? And when Uttam Adhikari Bhakts, they are engaged in philanthropic or global mission kind of work after they have acquired a very high status in their own bhakti, this thing. How does that, how does this whole thing of being an instrument of grace play into the bhakti model?
Perfect. That's what we're discussing. We continue to live and act in the Varnashram model, but our faith should come from bhakti. So if you have your understanding and your anchor is deep, and yes, I understand I'm Krishna Das. So you're aligned to Ishavasya principle. With that foundation, whatever you do you become an agent of grace. Srila Prabhupada says in Ishopanishad, when all these altruism, socialism, nationalism, humanitarianism, they are very attractive forms of what? Karma bandhana. Why? When you see them separate from Krishna, without the Ishavasya principle. But the Vedic instruction of Sri Ishopanishad is that if one actually wants to live for any of the above isms, they should make them God-centered. Then all of them start having meaning. So there's nothing wrong with all of them, but the point is, are you God-centered in the first place? From that you approach being an agent of grace, that's perfect. But if you yourself are not acknowledging the presence and control of God and you want to become an agent of grace, what you end up actually doing, is you end up competing with the Ishwar. Which is not a good idea. So yes, once we are God-centered, once we have faith in bhakti, then through any form we can become an agent of grace. Okay. So yeah. So I was saying we do varnashram duties to ultimately stop doing varnashram duties. It's not the end. It's a means to reach sattva guru. That's all. So these concepts have to fit in very clearly. Yeah. And then why follow varnashram at all? Because you are in society, you have to set an example. You cannot be whimsical, irresponsible. You cannot earn a bad reputation for devotees. And devotees don't take responsibility in the world. That's not how we want to hear about, devotees. So practice it. So those who don't get that seed of Shraddha, they continue practicing Varnashram till they reach mode of goodness. Mode of goodness again is not the cause of pure devotion, it is a stepping stone to pure devotion. Sattvagun cannot give ruchi in Krishna Leela. Only Shravanam Kirtanam will give pure devotion. But yeah, even to do Shravanam Kirtanam properly, you need to be in mode of goodness broadly. Otherwise, it's difficult for us who are, in the journey to practice the limbs of bhakti in Rajo and Tamo. It's like, we are trying to make opposites meet. So Sattvagun is even favorable as we perform sadhana bhakti to strengthen our Shraddha. So the idea is you understand the utility and limits of Varnashram. You don't outrightly reject Varnashram. You understand its limit, and with proper understanding and eligibility, you go beyond Varnashram. Because somebody who has a qualification for Varnashram, you should not tell them these things. Because if you shake their faith in Varnashram and their faith in Bhakti is not yet developed, they'll be nowhere. So therefore, Shri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Na buddhi vedam janaihi. Don't shake their faith in karma. At least they are performing karma. They don't have faith in Bhagwan like you do. So if you shake that, they will be nowhere. They'll end up in weak karma. So what should we do? Encourage them to perform their work and direct their work towards the divine. That's what we should tell everyone. Even if somebody is attached, then okay, offer your work to Krishna. That's what you should say. So, again, we have to wait for mercy. So we have to go beyond Varnashram, but consciously, not arrogantly. And we should know these Varnashram duties are not essential for my bhakti, and they are not also eternally useful for my bhakti. In fact, they are covering my bhakti with karma and jnana. So I am doing what I am doing, one, to, for my subsistence in this world. Second is to set an example. But my faith and my, primary interest is in the direct limbs of God. Okay? So here Srila Prabhupada mentions all this in his purpose. We just have to recognize where he's saying what. So Prabhupada says we have purposely denoted dharma as occupation, not religion, because dharma is that which sustains one's existence. So religion is not a good translation of the word dharma because religion can be changed. Today I'm of one faith, I can change my faith and adopt another faith. So that is not the true bhavarth of the word dharma. Dharma means that which sustains you. So what sustains the soul is one's eternal relationship with Krishna. So now you see the heaviness of what Paro Dharma is mentioned here. It is not just, conventionally or casually mentioned, it's very deep. Savai Pumsam Paro Dharma. Ultimate, not relative like others. Ultimate occupation. That what will subsist you is your connection to Krishna. That is what you should be doing. Isn't it brilliant the way Prabhupada brings out this meaning? So Krishna is the central pivot. He's all attractive. Each and every living being has his eternal form in the spiritual existence. So in our purified state, in our spiritual state, all of us have a spiritual form. And Krishna is the eternal attraction for all of them. Krishna is the complete whole, and we are part and parcels. The relationship is one of the servant and the served. So it is transcendental and completely distinct from our experience in material existence. So what is Prabhupada saying? That because the idea of a servant generates a lot of fear in the material world. So Prabhupada saying, no, 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 don't think of servant in your material setting. Think of servant in a transcendental setting. Yeah. It is, in fact, the most congenial form of intimacy. If you want to actually deeply connect to someone, servitorship is the most intimate way. So how Srila Prabhupada is presenting Dasya. So what is Dasya? Dasya is our most congenial form of intimacy. And that Dasya will bring us in eternal relationship with Krishna, which is our dharma. So how Dasya is our dharma is established in this Gurukul. Did you get that? Dasya is your dharma, Krishna Das. So one should engage himself in that transcendental loving service of the Lord, even in the present conditional state of material existence. So you might say, I don't have that pure Shraddha. It's okay. Wherever you are, you can engage yourself in service of Krishna. That will gradually give one the clue to actual life and please him to complete satisfaction. So yes, we are all wanting to follow the best path, reach the best destination, but we also have to do it in a way which is satisfying to the heart. So the journey also has to be relishable. Therefore, suprasidati. It is not only the ultimate dharma, but it is also that what will satisfy you at every step. That is what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Don't worry, you can start now. And at every step, you will gain clarity. With one step, the horizon will expand and you will feel satisfaction along the way. It is not that you have to just abstain and suppress and just wait. I'm waiting for my destination. I'm suffering till I reach my destination. That's not the mode of bhakti. Yenatma suprasidati. It deeply satisfies the soul. And a continuation of this, the answer to Ekantatah Shreyah, is also the seventh verse. So 6 and 7 together. Savai pumso pumsam paro dharma yato bhakti radhokshaje ye ahituki apratihata ye atma suprasidati Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayadahetukam. By rendering devotional service under the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. So, you are saying this practicing our Parodharma is sadhana bhakti, and it is also Yayatma Suprasidati. It satisfies the mind. How does it satisfy the mind? It fills your mind with knowledge and experience of the Lord. Jnana, Vairagya. So the jnana mentioned here is not the monistic knowledge, not the Advaitin jnana, the jnana of Lord having an impersonal form. We are not talking of the Brahmavadi kind of jnana. We are talking of the Bhagavad jnana. Your mind will be filled with knowledge of Krishna and his qualities and his form and his attributes and his sweetness. That is what will satisfy your mind. Yanatma suprasidati. And because you will be so deeply satisfied in Krishna and everything related to Krishna, as a result of that, you will develop complete disgust with everything inferior. Vairagya. You don't even have to endeavor for Vairagya, it will be a byproduct of your bhakti. So bhakti produces jnana of Bhagavan, which satisfies the self so deeply that Vairagya for the world arises automatically. This is what is being said. Okay. So bhakti yoga should be the only goal. You don't have to separately endeavor for jnana and vairagya. Yeah. Jnana and vairagya are not even necessary in the practice of bhakti, as we discussed. We are taking time to go deep into these because these are foundational concepts. As we proceed, we'll keep coming back to this. So unless this is clear, our understanding of further subject matter will not be perfect. So we don't need to make a separate endeavor for attaining jnana or vairagya. It is not necessary for bhakti because bhakti itself produces them. And how does it produce? Ashu, very quickly, dekhte hi dekhte, immediately. So there is a beautiful verse in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which says the same thing, how Vairagya is a byproduct of bhakti. This is a beautiful verse, one of my favorites. Bhakti pareshanubhava viraktiranyatra chaisha trikale trika ekakalah prapadyamanasya yatha shnatha syus tushtik pushtik shudapayo no gasam. So, when you eat food, what happens? Three things happen progressively. You derive pleasure, tushti. You gain a certain form of happiness by eating food. Yeah. Then pushti, not just happiness, you also feel nourished. You feel pushti. And automatically, shuddha, your hunger, apaya. Your hunger is driven away. So just as when we eat food, there is happiness, nourishment, and relief from hunger. Similarly, one who takes shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead experiences bhakti, para isha anubhav, and viraktir. What is bhakti? Devotion. Para ish anubhav means direct experience of Ishwar. Para ish anubhav, you are experiencing, you are not only philosophizing about the Ishwar, you are not only believing about the Ishwar, you are actually contacting the Ishwar. You are experiencing the Ishwar. So it is a anubhav. And what does that anubhav give? Yenatma suprasidati. It satisfies you to such a deep level that viraktir, automatically vairagya arises. So vairagya is not something we can attain out of suppression. It is a byproduct of deep satisfaction. It just changes the way you try to get vairagya. Okay, so this knowledge, which this verse is talking about, bhakti produces jnana and vairagya. This is not the knowledge of impersonal Brahman. This is not the knowledge of liberation. This is the knowledge of the opulences, potencies, and energies of the Lord. This is the Aishwarya Gyan, not the Advaya Gyan in the Brahmavadi sense. It's not the Gyan which one needs to get out of, get liberation. We are talking of Bhagwan is the center of this Gyan. Okay? And we'll see this principle repeat itself in later cantos. Okay? And so we understand that, in the previous verse we saw Bhakti has no cause. Here in this verse, we see that there is no goal other than Bhakti also. Right? Because Jnana or Vairagya are not the goal, they are byproducts of the journey. So Bhakti alone functions as both the cause and the goal. We don't do Bhakti to get Jnana or Vairagya. We do Bhakti to get Bhakti. And the Bhakti that we are doing is caused by Bhakti also. Okay, is it making sense? So Srila Prabhupada says that Bhakti is not like other material emotional affairs, like charity, sacrifice, austerity, knowledge, mystic power, siddhis, and similar processes of transcendental realization. So some people say that bhakti is meant for those who cannot perform these high level sadhanas of gyan, tapas, yagya, swadhyay, brahmacharya. They say bhakti is meant for those who are less qualified. Yeah, those who are sentimentalists. But that is not a fact. That is just a narrative. That is just a rhetoric which is created against bhakti. When Srila Prabhupada puts it so well, what did we discuss? Two levels of existence. At one level, there are all the kinds of dharmas, and at the high level, there is parodharma, the soul dharma. And below that is varnashram dharma, which includes all of this, yagya, dan, tapa, swadhyay. So we saw that at the parodharma level, the nature of the activities is that they are all at a soul level, they are transcendental activities. That is where bhakti derives its power from. Don't underestimate bhakti from its simplicity. It is deriving its power from its proximity to Bhagavan and its proximity to the nature of the soul. Yeah. So Prabhupada says the bhakti cult is the topmost of all transcendental activities. So he's saying it is of a different category. It is not of bodily designation. It's a soul level transcendental activity. And therefore, it is simultaneously sublime and easy. So it might appear easy, but because it is so sublime, it is of the true nature of the soul and it is in contact with Bhagwan. Therefore, it is sublime and powerful, but it appears easy also. It is sublime for the pure devotees who are serious about getting in contact with Supreme Lord. Anubhav, para isha anubhav chahiye aapko. That is what it is meant for. Therefore, it is sublime. And it is easy for neophytes who are on the threshold of the house of bhakti, who are still developing strength of their shraddha. So it is for both. So therefore, those who say that it is easy, it is for those who cannot practice tapasya, they don't understand the nature of bhakti. It is universal, it is absolute, and it is ultimate. Just because something is so magnanimous that it is also accessible to everyone doesn't mean that it is not ultimate or supreme. Okay. Just see the wordings of Srila Prabhupada. To achieve the contact of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna is a great science and it is open for all living beings, including caste, gender, no requirement. Yeah. Then what to speak of those who actually put themselves through training to qualify themselves or follow the path of self-realization? For them, bhakti will be so much more easily accessible. Yeah. It's so versatile that anyone can do it. But those who are qualified, those who are on the path of self-realization, those who are training themselves to be spiritual, for them, imagine how much more beautiful it will be. The other high-grade activities designated as sacrifice, charity, austerity, etc., are all corollary factors following the pure and scientific bhakti cult. So, what is the science behind it? Let first understand which activity is at which level. All the Yagya Dantapa is great, but it is still at a Varnashram level. Whereas Bhakti, which is seeming so simple, is at a constitutional level. Therefore, even though it is easy, it is also sublime and supreme. So, continuing, Prabhupada says, Jnana and Vairagya are the two most important factors on the path of transcendental realization. The whole spiritual process leads to perfect knowledge of everything material and spiritual. So, when you are on a spiritual path, Prabhupada says, what is the meaning of Sambandha Gyan? To know what is matter, what is spirit, and who is the controller of both. This is Bhagavad Gita 7.4 and 5. Sri Krishna is the controller of both matter and spirit. That is Gyan. And the results of such perfect knowledge are that one becomes detached from material affection and becomes attached to spiritual activities. So, what is Prabhupada saying here? All the activities that somebody else is proposing as higher than bhakti, the purpose of all those activities is to give us jnana, to detach from matter and attach to Krishna. And if bhakti is directly attaching us to Krishna, isn't it superior? Isn't it direct? Now, Srila Prabhupada comes to an important point. In the name of Vairagya, when we reject everything, that's also a danger. Becoming detached from material things does not mean becoming inert altogether. Doesn't mean you will not act in this world. As men with poor fund of knowledge think, Naishkarmya does not mean inaction. It does not, because you're so fearful because any action you do, punya or papa, it will produce its effect. Punya karma, papa karma, both have phala. So you're so scared of any kind of action that you become inert. That is not the meaning of Naishkarmya. Negation does not mean negation of the positive. Such a beautiful statement. Negation of the non-essentials does not mean negation of the essential. So what is the essential that Srila Prabhupada is saying? Our connection to Krishna is essential. You don't become so detached that you are detached from the divine also. The idea was to be detached from matter and connect to spirit. Now you're detached from matter and you're detached from spirit. The idea of jnana was to bring you to a natural disaffection or detachment from matter and attachment to spiritual activities. But if you detach from everything, that is like throwing the baby along with the bathwater. Detachment, detachment. No form, no form, no qualities. She was so scared. You had such a bad experience in this world that you are not even ready to conceive or be open to the idea of there can be spiritual forms and spiritual emotions and spiritual exchanges which we have to be attached to. So that spirituality, not everyone graduates to, honestly. The spirituality which most of the people step into and stay is the realm of detachment, detachment. In the Upanishad, Prabhupada says, no, in the Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada says this in one of the purports, that in the beginning, one will have this idea of impersonal, uh, approaching the divine as impersonal and focus. The stress will be on detachment. But as you progress in spiritual journey, also you will realize that there is a creator controller who has attributes which I am, which I can fall in love with and get attached to. So that is the spiritual attachment which Srila Prabhupada is saying that we have to become attached to. Negation does not mean negation of the positive. So positive is being attached to our spiritual, aspirations. Uh, Detachment from material forms does not mean nullifying the positive forms. So originally we all have spiritual forms which are eternal. So just because you are nullifying the material form doesn't automatically mean you also break down the spiritual form. The bhakti cult is meant for realization of the positive form. So you see the specific role bhakti does, which jnana, vairagya, yajna, dan, tapa, swadhyaya, brahmacharya cannot do. It cannot make you attached to spiritual activities, without which your spiritual journey is only halfway. You're detached from matter, but you do what? Uh, Inert. So for most people, spirituality culminates in inertness. बस ये है. Beyond that is attachment to spiritual activities, and therefore it is a festival. So this spiritual bhakti yoga therefore becomes so joyful, so celebratory in nature. While you are making more progress than somebody who is artificially suppressing, and you are happily doing it. Yenatma suprasidati. So this is a very important statement. The bhakti cult is meant for realization of the positive form. And when that positive form is realized, the negative forms are automatically eliminated. When I am aware of my Swarupa, what will I finally be in my eternally liberated form? Then automatically I'll be detached from my current temporary forms. That is the point. Okay? Therefore, with the development of the bhakti cult, with the application of the positive service to the positive form, which is the positive service? Bhakti. Which is the positive form? You as a soul serving Bhagwan as Ishwar. That is positive form. By doing that, one naturally becomes detached from inferior things and becomes attached to superior things. This is how it works, not just by avoiding and becoming inert or suppression. So, bhakti is the supermost occupation for the living being, and automatically it will lead to jnana and vairagya. That is the sign of a pure devotee. He's not a fool, nor is he engaged in inferior energies, which means varnashram duties or activities under the Bahiranga Shakti, both material activities and religiosity. A pure devotee is not engaged in either of them. Nor does he have any material values. This is not possible by dry reasoning. You cannot just speculate. You have to get this by experience. When you experience something higher, you give up something inferior. When you're hungry, you will be attached to even one dry bread. But if you're served a buffet feast, then you'll easily give up that dry bread. So the point is, have you obtained that higher taste? And where is that taste going to come from? The bhakti cult is meant for realization of the positive form. So without doing bhakti, you will never actually have a substantive experience of fulfillment, and therefore you will never be able to actually at any time practice true renunciation or detachment. You cannot just reason and speculate and be detached. It's just then, mental concoction. It actually happens by the grace of the Almighty. Okay. So the conclusion is one who is a devotee has all good qualities like jnana and vairagya, but somebody who might have jnana and vairagya need not necessarily also have bhakti, without which their spiritual progress is not complete, without which they are not completely detached also. Okay. And the eighth verse also then summarizes what we have discussed in the sixth and seventh. Dharma swanushtita pumsam vishwaksena katha suyaha notpadayed yadiratam shrameva hi kevalam. So this verse directly talks about varnashram. We discussed about varnashram beforehand, but now you'll be able to appreciate what is being said here. The occupational activities of a man, the occupational activities a man performs according to his own position. What does it mean by one's own position? According to your swabhava, you choose your swadharma. That is swanushtita. According to your position. Swanushtita. Dharma, swanushtita, pumsa. That religion of the people according to their respective positions. That is varnashram, simply speaking. They are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of God. It's such a poetic, way. Notpadayet. अगर वो उत्पाद, if it is not giving birth to what? Ratim. Yadi ratim is taste or attraction or faith. In what? Vishwaksena Katha. The glories of the Lord, the messages of the Lord, the Leelas of the Lord. So having faith in Krishna, having faith in Krishna's Leela, having faith in Bhakti, these are all synonymous. So if your Varnashram activities do not lead to arising faith in Krishna and his activities, then it is a waste of time. It was useless labor. You worked so hard as a earnest Kshatriya, yeah, struggling, striving to follow your Swadharma. But it did not create faith in Krishna and Krishna Katha. What is the point? It's useless labor. You see what is being done here? Varnashram is being presented as subservient to bhakti. Varnashram is not dismissed. So never get into that mode. Varnashram is useless. No. Varnashram has a place, but it is subservient to bhakti. Therefore, Varnashram is not considered Paro Dharma, which was introduced in verse 6. Why did Sutta Goswami not say Varnashram Dharma is the Ekantatah Shreyah? Varnashram Dharma is supposed to produce Rati in Krishna Katha and performing direct limbs of bhakti. That is prema. That is the ultimate Ekantatah Shreyah. So, Varnashram is not Parodharma. Varnashram is our bodily designation. We have just discussed. Mere performance of Varnashram duties does not produce attraction for the Lord. This is the principle. There is a nice verse in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which says that even if you do all the samskaras and become a dvija, you take upanayan, or you study all the Vedas, or you have the lifespan of a devata, what is the use of it if you are not serving Krishna? Yeah, it is basically saying it's useless. So bhakti is the ultimate goal of all other dharmas. That is the point. And there is another verse here in this section where Narad Muni is presenting, Narad Muni is speaking this in the 4th canto, so you have to take this authority. There's this beautiful verse. He says, Kimva yogena sankhenya nyasa swadhyayo yaropi kimva shreyobi anyais cha na yatratma pradho harihi. Same what Sutta Goswami is saying. The same thing Narad Muni is saying in 4th canto, 31st chapter, 12th verse. What is the use of yoga, sankhya, sannyas, swadhyay, studying the Vedas, or other auspicious acts in which the Lord does not give realization of himself? If you don't end up with God realization, faith in God, taste for activities of the Lord, then what is the use of doing what you are doing? So this is a recurring theme in scriptures, that the ultimate benefit of all other dharmas is to attain devotion service to Krishna, or faith in bhakti, or taste for bhakti. So how do we understand this further? So karma, what is Lord saying here? That karma which does not give rise to taste for Krishna Katha is useless. Can you catch a fault here? Let's see how attentive you are. Yes, Prabhu.
I mean, like the karma itself cannot produce attraction.
Correct. That's what we have been discussing. Bhakti cannot be caused by anything. Forget karma. So why is Suta Goswami saying Varnashram that does not lead to Krishna, Rati in Krishna Lila is useless? What are we trying to understand here? So it is not karma which gives rise to Rati or Bhakti. Karma gives rise to Jnana. That is the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. You perform Nishkam Karma Yoga, Nirahankara, Nirmamo, no ego, no greed. You still perform your act without attachment to the fruits, without considering yourself as a doer. What will happen? You will purify yourself. You purify yourself by performing Nishkama Karma, Varnashram Dharma. You reach the platform of Jnana, self-realization. I am the soul. Realization is different from information. Currently, we are at the level of information, and I am the soul. When you are actually purified by performing Nishkam Karma Yoga or Varnashram Dharma, you reach the realization I am the soul. Yeah. So that karma or Varnashram Dharma gives rise to jnana. It does not directly produce bhakti itself. So you see the word here in this verse, uh, that, we saw there's a nice verse in the 11th canto that which says the same theme. Asmin loke vartamana swadharmastho शुचि Jnanam vishuddham apnoti madbhaktim cha yadrichaya. So, what we are confounding here as a contradiction is resolved in this verse in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 20, verse 11. What does it say? One who is situated in his prescribed duty, Varnashram Dharma, free from sinful activities, Shuchihi, Anagha is free from sinful activities. No sin now. Shuchihi, cleansed of material contamination. No anarthas. In this very life obtains transcendental knowledge. Jnanam vishuddham apnoti mad bhaktim cha yadrichaya. So by doing all of this, you can become pure and perfect and attain jnana. Mad bhaktim cha yadrichaya. But my bhakti may be obtained by yadrichaya. This introducing this one word of yadrichaya turns everything around. These things, varnashram and every being pure and perfect, shuchihi, anagaha, can give you jnana. Whether you get bhakti or not depends on yadrichaya. Yadrichaya means, again, entry of a devotee in our life who has bhakti and they can give bhakti. That is how bhakti is yadrichaya, independent, not dependent on any of this karma or varnashram. So, yadrichaya means by good fortune, by itself, by the mercy of devotees, that is yadrichaya. ज्ञान आप प्राप्त कर सकते हो वर्णाश्रम करके भक्ति के लिए ग्रेस चाहिए you need yadrichaya, you need mercy. So all dharmas other than bhakti, bhakti is parodharma. All other dharmas, if you do as your duty, swanushtitaha, dharma swanushtitaha pumsa, very religiously you do, even if they are nishkama, if they don't produce rati for Krishna Leela, they are only useless labor. Yeah. So is Varnashram totally useless? No, Varnashram is also a dharma. Yeah, the result of dharma. This is where we come to answering your question, Prabhu, which you asked previously. See, you cannot obtain the results of Varnashram dharma also if there is no bhakti. This is a new concept which is very, very important and we have to understand. Any process or any path, if it has to give its fruit, there has to be bhakti present in it. Even if you're doing karma, jnana or yoga, there has to be bhakti in it. If you want the result of karma, jnana, and yoga, forget pure bhakti. Does it make sense? For any path to give its result, there has to be a presence of an element of bhakti. So, वर्णाश्रम में भक्ति है कि नहीं है? वर्णाश्रम में भक्ति है, but it is not genuine bhakti. There is bhakti because you want the fruits of varnashram. The purusharthas, you want, oh, this process will give fruit only if there is bhakti. Okay, okay, I will do bhakti. That kind of bhakti is there in varnashram. So, so you are asking that by performing varnashram, can we attain rati? Not by the power of varnashram activities, because even for varnashram activities to give fruit, it is depending on the presence of bhakti. Then how can varnashram give bhakti? You understand? So, because bhakti is present, varnashram is giving its effect. And because this, what is this bhakti? Say if you are working in an office, if you're not respectful to your boss, however perfect, smart, scholarly you are, you have to be loyal, loyal to the king, and then you will get the results of your work. So will you call that bhakti? When somebody is loyal to their boss or loyal to the king just because they want promotion or they want to be safe in their job, that is not bhakti. They are looking for results and they're using bhakti as a prop. कि loyal नहीं होगा तो मुझे results नहीं मिलेगा. So one cannot attain the results. So when they say that bhakti is present even in varnashram dharma, what is the flavor of that bhakti? That bhakti is like loyalty to your boss. Oh, varnashram system Vishnu ka hai. Vishnu, if you don't have bhakti towards Vishnu, will not get the results of varnashram. So let me be devotional towards Vishnu. It is not genuine. It is a name only. It is an appearance. Yeah. So it lacks real devotion to the Lord. So yeah, we need to have some loyalty that can be called as bhakti within varnashram, but that bhakti is secondary. And bhakti is there because you want to please the boss to get the promotion. That is not real love and devotion. So there is this beautiful verse which comes in the 5th chapter of this canto, which we will discuss, but it is directly relating to the topic we are discussing, which says, Varnashram kya aap naishkarmya bhi karo. Naishkarmya means no selfish desire. Nishkarmyam api achitta bhava varjitam na shobhate jnanamalam niranjanam kutah punah shashwada bhadramishvara nachar pitam karma va yad api akarmana. That knowledge of self-realization, Naishkarmyam. Naishkarmyam is a very high state of realization. Knowledge of self-realization, even though free from all material affinity, does not look well if devoid of a conception of God. So you might be self-realized, but are you God-realized? If not, then it doesn't look good. So if self-realization is incomplete without God-realization, what then is the use of fruitive activities, which are naturally painful from the very beginning and transient by nature, if they are not utilized for devotional service of the Lord? So, matlab, karmanam also requires acknowledgement of God. Then it is complete. If you're doing kamya karma, varnashram dharma with a goal to achieve something, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. What is the kama? It is a desire. So varnashram dharma facilitates legal desires, but desire is still there. So anything that has desire is incomplete. That is the point. So let us look at the purport by Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada says there are different occupational activities according to different conceptions of life. You know, what is your Swadharma, depending on what's your Swabhava. Somebody who doesn't understand all this, they just are like materialist and don't tell me anything spiritual. I only live once. So enjoy as much as you can. Eat, drink, and be merry. So for them, there is nothing beyond the senses. So the goal of life becomes, I mean, if you are not aware of the soul or your identity of a soul, what will you live as? Body. So who am I? I am my senses. If you are your senses, the goal of life is keeping the senses happy. So that is materialism. Prabhupada says that can be concentrated, which means you are working towards your personal selfish sense gratification, or it can be extended. You are trying to serve human society, family, community, nation, and the world. But the problem here is not this service. Problem here is your view that you are the body and your ignorance of the existence and influence of the creator. That is the problem. So above the gross materialist who are just interested in concentrated and extended sense gratification, above them are the jnanis. So the first one are the karmis. Next are the jnanis. They hover aloft in material spheres. Prabhupada is beautifully translating. Manorathena hi dhavato bahihi. They are on an intellectual titillation. Vedanta. I am soul, I am God. Just so much in their mind. And what do they do? Poetry, philosophy, just propagating some ism. But the point is, the selfishness is still at the center. It is still about the body and mind. It's not about the soul, and it's not keeping Krishna in center. Not Ishavasya, not soul centered. So it's all again futile. So karmi, jnani, they don't come to the main point that we are the soul and there is a God. If you don't acknowledge these two things, we are missing the point. Above the body mind is the dormant spirit soul. And if that is absent, then all the selfishness that we are trying to do will also become null. If soul is not there, what is the point in being selfish for the body or the mind? But those who don't have information about all this, they keep committing the same mistake. They are not satisfied in performing their occupational duties. How can we be satisfied? Yena atma suprasidati. Only when we are in touch with Krishna. Yena atma suprasidati. When will we come in touch with Krishna? When we rise to the level of constitutional duties, direct processes of bhakti. Shravanam Kirtanam. That includes jnana of Krishna and his greatness and sweetness, and also vairagya. That jnana, that knowledge of Krishna's sweetness will deeply satisfy us. Yanatma suprasidati. So that is satisfaction of the self. That active principle is what we have to satisfy. Not just the body and mind, which are just superfluous outer coverings of the soul. The spirit soul's needs must be fulfilled. Simply cleansing the cage of the bird does not satisfy the birds. One must know the needs of the bird itself. The bird will die. Our cage will be golden and shiny. That sounds funny, but that's also how most of us are living our lives. Yeah. And what is the need of the soul? Is to be free. What is the true nature of the soul? Sat Chit Anand. But we are in a place, we are engaged in a body and in a material world, which is Asat, Achit, and Niranand. So we are in a completely, we are stuck in a position which is completely opposite to our true natural self. Therefore, we feel so unfulfilled. The need of the spirit soul is that he wants to get out of the limited sphere of material bondage and get complete freedom. Get out of the covered walls of greater universe. So the universe also has layers. Each layer is 10 times more thicker than the previous layer. And what are the layers? Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, ego. So the soul wants to get out of all these layers. That he wants to see the free light and the spirit, the spiritual realm. That is liberation, or that is reuniting with Krishna. What is that relation with Krishna? It's bhakti. It's your rasa. Are you a dasya, sakhya, vatsalya, or madhurya? That is the freedom which the soul really wants. That is when it will be complete. There is dormant affection for God within everyone. Yeah, so all of us love God deep within. But spiritual existence in our gross realm, it manifests through perverted affection for gross and subtle matter. Actually, we love God, but in our conditional state, that spiritual existence gets morphed into affection for matter, gross and subtle. Actually, our love is for Krishna, but in our conditioned state, that love gets redirected towards matter, misdirected towards matter. Therefore, we have to engage ourselves in the occupational engagements. What is occupational engagement? Dharma. What kind of dharma? That which will evoke our divine consciousness. Yato bhaktir adhokshaya. So beautifully, Srila Prabhupada closes the loop by going back to verse 6. This is Prabhupada's brilliance, actually. Yeah, this is possible only by hearing and chanting. We discussed a lot on that today. Those are our constitutional activities. That will satisfy the soul. That will evoke our divine consciousness. And any occupational activity which does not help one achieve attachment for hearing chanting is said to be a waste of time. Yeah, any ism to whatever category they belong cannot give liberation to the soul. Even the salvationists, their activities are considered useless because of their failure to pick up the fountainhead of all liberties. That if you are a Brahmavadi, if you want liberation, but you don't recognize God, then you're also missing the point. That's, Mayavadi more specifically. Brahmavadis say that, yeah, there is God, but I am interested in Brahman realization only. Mayavadis say there is no God, Brahman is final. So that's the difference in flavor between the two. So the Mayavadis are these salvationists. Their activities are also useless because of their failure to pick up the fountainhead of all liberties. Who's the fountainhead of all liberties? The cause of everything, including rasa, Shri Krishna. So they are aiming and aspiring for moksha, but they are dismissing Bhagwan, which means they are doing an offense to Bhagwan. So if somebody commits an offense to Bhagwan, how can they get liberation? So they stay in their state of imagined liberation, but they keep coming back to worldly activities. Yeah. The gross materialist can practically see that their material gain, somebody is following the karma mark. What is their gain? It's limited by space and time. Even if you expand the space to Swarga, the fruit is still limited by time. So the result of no karma can take you beyond space and time. Only a transcendental activity or method can take you beyond space and time, which is bhakti. The hankering soul must be satisfied by the perfect scientific process of perfect devotional souls. Okay. Thank you very much. Yes, bro.
Guruji, I just had wanted to clarify this verse, the Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojata Janati Ashu Vairagyam. The Bhakti Yoga described here, like I think previously we were discussing, there seem to be 3 or 4 levels, wherein one doesn't have Shraddha fully, but one is performing the limbs while situated in Varnashram. Then probably another level is one is having Shraddha and executing the limbs. And then finally there is like Prema Bhakti, which was told Yato Bhakti Radhakshaje in the previous verse. So this Bhakti Yoga described in Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita, what Bhakti does it refer to?
This is referring to pure bhakti, Prabhu. This is referring to the bhakti. See, we saw two bhaktis in verse 6, sadhana bhakti and sadhya bhakti or prema bhakti. So that is the parodharma. And seventh verse says, your varnashram duties which do not lead to that, do not lead you to sadhana bhakti are all futile. So it is referring to the starting point of sadhana bhakti.
Okay.
Because that is given as the parodharma. And that with practice will become prema. So prema is not given as parodharma, but sadhana bhakti is given as a parodharma. And developing ruchi, rati, is an indication of developing faith only. So when you have Dhrida Shraddha, you actually begin the process of pure bhakti.
Oh, okay, Prabhuji. Can I ask one more question, Prabhuji?
Sure.
Prabhuji, we also had previously we were discussing the Nirmat Sarana, that the only reason we don't immediately get Sadhyo Hridi Avaruddhate doesn't happen because we are still covered over by offenses. We are not Nirmat Sarana. How does that relate with this thing, Prabhuji? Is offense also related with not developing this pure Shraddha, Dhrid Shraddha?
We discussed the levels of Nam, Shuddha Nam, and Namabhas and Namaprad. So what is Aparad if you see? Now, we are talking of Shraddha means you are able to practice offenselessly. Offenselessly means you have deep faith, unquestioned faith in four things: holy name, Guru, Vaishnavas, and Shastra. All the 10 offenses to the holy name are around these four only. So the day you have unflinching faith in these is when you start offenseless practice. Is when you're, it is the stage of offenselessness. It is the stage of Dhrida Shraddha. So that's the same thing.
Okay. So the cause of us not being able to develop Dhrid Shraddha is our past offenses. Is that correct?
For us, it is also we are receiving the seed of Shraddha, but the seed is potent, but the land in which it is sowed, that is not fertile. So we have offensive mentality. Offensive doesn't just literally means going and offending devotees. It means, not having full faith in Shastra, sadhus, Harinam, and Guru. So that is the, offense. Those are the contaminations we have, which prevent us from reaching the stage of Shuddha now.
Thank you.
How to get that? By what we are doing. Deepen your conviction from association of pure devotees, get their mercy, serve pure devotees. Serving devotees is the gateway to that. That is what is described in the scriptures. So to serve devotees, you will be aligned, you will be spiritually, scripturally convinced. All of that will get included.
Serving devotees, is that as a limb of bhakti specifically more potent when we are still having these contaminations?
Yeah. I mean, if scriptures tell us one way of receiving that grace, it is Mahat Seva Dwaram Ahurvimukta. Serving great souls, serving Guru. So if you want to reach that stage of pure chanting, offenseless chanting, serve the pure devotees, serve those who are pure.
Roji, one last question. This like if we are not having a lot of access in one sense to like sort of Mahabhagavat devotees, we are having some association of devotees, but it's like day to day, I probably through Vani, I might have some association, but like through Vapu and all, I don't get. So then, like in this situation, how do we understand Mahat Seva? And is Mahat Seva that is described, like say we serve devotees in general as well as, Mahabhagavat devotees like that. So are they equivalent? And if not, how do we do Mahat Seva when we don't have Vapu association?
Yeah. No, our understanding of Guru Tattva has to be deepened. Guru Tattva does not literally mean Vapu association of a Diksha Guru. First of all, we have to understand there are different gurus. Yeah, there is Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, Partha Pradarsha Guru. Then there is a Guru who nourishes you. So, and Srila Prabhupada, he is our original, Shiksha Guru in ISKCON. For all of us, Prabhupada is the um, primary Shiksha Guru. So you have access to Prabhupada's words through scriptures, through his commentaries. You associate with them. Nobody can say they don't have access to Mahabhagavats. Prabhupada being your preeminent Shiksha Guru, that's the word they use. And his words, his Vani is what you can serve. That is what we are trying to do. And that is, we will see in the future verses, this Shravanam and Kirtanam will give rise to pure Shravan. That is the process. So yeah, I'll share a document on Guru Tattva, which will, present you how deep the understanding of a guru is. Somebody might have a Diksha Guru, but they might be having other people who are nourishing their bhakti. That's perfect. Somebody is not able to connect to their Diksha Guru, somebody is able to receive instruction from their Diksha Guru. So it's not the responsibility of one person alone, but it's a harmony of various mentors in our journey. So if you have that in place, you are assured of progress.
Thank
I'll
you.
share the document on the group and maybe next time we can, just discuss about it briefly. Okay, thank you everyone. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.